Welcome live to the 9 o'clock event. Let me turn the camera up just a little bit. Oh boy. Let's see if we can get the cam control. There we are. Okay, that's as far as we're going to go. Anyway, not a big round of anything to speak of tonight. This is more just a hangout. Turn the toolbox off. Unfortunately, I still haven't figured out the Open Broadcaster software so I can see the chat. So I just leave it closed. And if you're going to be on here and you want to communicate with me, you're going to have to join Google Hangouts. So where I left off on the last project was the Continental Wing. We got 5 or 6 coats of dope on this now, and it's starting to come up in shine. That's what you want. And I'm getting ready to install this wing, but before we're going to install it, I'm going to sand it. And you want to sand all the hard to get areas around the lead outs where we had any problems. Around the inside of the flaps. The trading engine, and we're not. All the shaping of this should have been done before putting the covering down. So I'm not really moving any material. I'm just basically flattening out the dope and the covering to make a nice finish on things. And talking to Dan McAtee tonight, I had taken the muffler that I got from him and I polished it. And we were talking about what does it take to make a nice polished job. Well, I sanded that muffler with I first filed all the rough castings off it, and then sanded it with 600, then sanded it with 1,000, then 1,500, then 2,000, and buffed it. And that's exactly how a chromer finishes it. That's ready to be chromed, actually, if I had a tank. And I know how to do chroming with an arc welder. You can do nickel plate with an arc welder in your bathtub. But I'm not going to mess with it. Hexavalent chrome, it's a pretty poisonous stuff. I got a friend who owns St. Louis Plating. I could probably get it chromed, but this is only model airplanes. We're not going to mess with it. I had a drive to Wick's Aircraft. I guess it was yesterday. And I still have those other airplanes to paint, so I picked up the material for this and those other airplanes. And I feel kind of bad. I'm going to have to talk to them because I got a discount I probably shouldn't have. And I'm kind of an honest guy. Daryl, I got the muffler and it fits the engine perfectly. Thank you very much. I ended up finding an OS spray bar, and I already had the Venturi from Jim Lee. I'm still trying to get a hold of Jim Lee. I need another extension. So if you're watching this, Jim, send me a message on the forum so I can get another 3/4 extension. We had some droops there with the chrome. I think what I'll do tonight, in the midst of this, is I'll mix up some superfill and do them trim tabs. I'm going to try to have this airplane on its wheels next week. Because I want to deliver it here in the next week or so. A couple weeks anyway. But he's been waiting so long now, so no sense in rushing it. Well, it turned out nice. Turned out nice. I don't know what it weighs. Let's see what it weighs. I remember this is covered and doped. There's no way to weigh it. Let's see here. I weigh my airplane, so weighing shouldn't be too difficult. Tear. Tear. 0. That's a good weight. 11.5. We'll add the flaps. I need to finish sanding this one flap. I guess I could do that too. The other night I made up hinges. That's 12. Yeah, we're in there as far as weights go. We add the horn. Yeah. Under 13 ounces for the wing with flaps ready to go, finished. That's it. That's a decent weight. We're looking for this model to come in around 50 ounces. I think that's where what mine weighs. I'm not sure. So let's sand up this flap. In case nobody's ever seen me do this, I'll do this on camera one time. 7 viewers. I noticed that we got 7 viewers, but I can't, unless you join the chat, I can't see the comments. So you have to join the chat. Anyway, what I do to shape these flaps to get a real nice shape on them, and they have less tendency to warp when I do it this way instead of the rod method. They have an airfoil on them, and I do them all in my hand. I use the finger method and draw a center line down this way, and then set this down here. I got a light here, as you can see. That's the candle thing. But I start running it. I don't know how to explain this. I'm pressing very hard at the edge and letting up as I go to the center. Now once I get the material moved off, we're going to do the X pattern like a crosshatch on a cylinder. And that's what keeps the real nice airfoil shape. This is 80 grit. And you can, if you were here, you could see I'm already getting a decent airfoil in it. So you're pushing hard at the top and letting off, go on the stroke down. And you just want to go to the high point of the flap or the elevator. I'll try to do a close-up as soon as I get. I'll do one side real quick, and I do these really fast. I mean, it does not take any time at all to make a real nice shaped flap, and they have less chance to warp when sanded this way than the rod method. And they look nicer. Okay, so a little bit more right here. Now some guys do two lines. A center line and then a 1/16 of an inch away from that, another center line, and that'll leave you an 1/8 of an inch at the trailing edge of the flap. I don't do that. I just use my eye and I guess it's 1/16 of an inch. So I have a bevel or an airfoil started to go in that, and I've been sanding in this direction. Now we're coming back this way with long strokes. Basically the same thing. We're pushing hard at the beginning and letting up when we get to the center of the flap. The only way that you can, sounds a little hollow in there. The only way that you can get them symmetrical is doing it this way, the crosshatch. And if you were here, you would see the 80 grit sanding marks going this way and this way. And that's what gives you a real nice roll on the flap. So you just witnessed how long it took to get a half an airfoil in there. It takes no time at all. And then I'll come back with 220 or 180, and then down to 320. So I'm going to do a close-up now. I'll walk over the camera and see if I can give you a cross-section. This is one flap here. You can see that it's got an airfoil on it. And this is the flap I just did here. And it's got a half an airfoil on it. It doesn't, it doesn't take any time at all. So now I'll turn it over and we'll do this side. And then around the leading edge of the flap. And that's it. I tend to use light wood, as light as I can get for the flaps, because it's a big piece of lumber. And if you use, 12-pound wood, you're going to have a 3-ounce flap. Now, Al Ray, he likes that 3-ounce flap business, but not me. He says they don't twist that way. Well, once you get tissue on these ain't going to twist sanded this way. So if you're joining the chat, join the chat, start your camera, turn your mic on, ask me a question. You got 9 viewers now. You have to go to Google Hangouts and join the Google Hangouts if you wish to participate. Please have a decent connection speed so we can hear you. I hope you guys are enjoying the Hangouts. Be sure to like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And the reason why I say share is when you hit the thumbs up button or the like or the share button, you can share it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. It helps the channel. It helps with the channel metrics. I'd sure like to get 30 likes to see what happens. I usually only get about 12 to 15 likes on each video. I guess there just ain't many of us control line guys around. My most viewed video, popular video, is that US cutter video I did. 6,000 views in a year, where the best control line video is 6,000 views in 2 years. So I realize that there ain't many of us, but I'm going to start reporting the news, the stunt news. I kind of hate to call it stunt news because we already got a stunt news magazine. So it'll be hanger news. As soon as I can figure out how to get this OBS software working, we'll have a regular program just like television. I really need an assistant for all this, but being a one-man band is pretty tough. But so far I've been able to muddle through being a one-man band. Okay, we have the airfoil pretty much sanded in it. You can kind of tinker with it. I'm gonna have to look for I won't do that, my hinging tool. I have to think of I'm doing the hinging tool just like I do with the blade hinges. And there's got to be a better way. Even each time I make a tool, it gets better. There has to be a way I can do it on the table saw to make it perfect. Trying to find somebody to go flying with tomorrow, but everybody's working. That's all right. Let's try out the 64-foot line. I have a light beside the bench so I can see the highs and lows. I have a light overhead, but you'd be surprised how much it helps to have a light handy. And these flaps, to me, when I look at them, look a whole lot better than just a flat that's been sanded to rod and everything. You could tinker with this all day long, but they come out nice this way. So now I'm going to put the round edge on this. And I normally just get them started here. And then get the long sanding bar to make it perfectly straight. And then I have a little fixture to get some Eastwood. I know, it makes you sick, doesn't it? It's only 50 years of practice. Okay, so we got it relatively straight there. Now to really get everything straight, I take this long bar and we're going to get a round edge on this. Pretty close. And I'll do that same with the trailing edge of the flap. These flaps are less than a ½ ounce piece, and that's plenty. Once you put tissue on them, they become extremely rigid. So that's pretty round. For some reason, I'm not getting the end here. So now the fixture. See if I can find it, aren't they? Okay, you get these little pollywogs from Eastwood. I'm sure there's other places that sell them, but that's where I get them from. And it has a concave in it. And we're going to sand the leading edge of that round, plus the trailing edge of the flap, so it's perfect. Time to cut my fingernails again. Might have to do that before I go any further. I'm kind of nicking it. That looks pretty good. Let's do the end here. It's dead straight. Okay, so now we have to take all the 80 grits. Remember I told you the thing was sanding with 80 grit. Somebody's in here. Who we got?
Hey, Sparky.
Hey, I got the muffler, Daryl. Thank you. Works perfect.
Perfect.
You there?
Yep.
Thank you very much for the muffler. It worked perfect.
Oh, good. You're welcome.
I just was demonstrating sanding flats tonight. How to get a nice airflow. I tell you, teaching how to sand on the computer is darn near impossible.
Yeah.
So now what I'm doing, I have I get different things from different places. This is out of a Harley Davidson fuel tank shipping container. It's a piece of really hard foam. And I use that as my sanding block as to not nick it up.
Yeah, I tried to get one of those, but I never ever heard back from them.
Well, that's the big foam that I set everything on is on a CVO FL, and that's where the back of the tank goes in. You can even see, if you look right here, I cut this notch in it. But if you look right here, this is where the petcock goes, and the back of the tank slides into that, and then there's another one on the front. I had two of them. I don't know what I did with the front part. And then it goes down in the box. Well, this comes off of a Springer Softail in the shipping crate. They ship it, and they use this to protect the tank from moving up and down in shipping. So it's a real hard piece of foam. You can get stuff like this, you know, a whole lot of places. What the hell? There it is. I used to, my Thunderbolt that I crashed, the spinner nut was a mirror nut off a Softail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it held the mirror on.
Yeah.
A bolt, 5/16, whatever that thread pitch is, was the same, and it was the right shape. So when I look at different things, I see airplanes in it, you know.
Harley parts on a model. That could be heavy.
What's that?
Putting Harley parts on a model airplane, that could be really heavy.
Nah, it doesn't matter if it's on the nose. So I've taken the scratches out of this. We're using 320. I normally go to 180 and 220 and so on and so forth, but we'll just go with this. And turn her over and do the other side, and then we'll be ready to go.
That's flaps you're doing there?
Yeah. You go back to the beginning when you can see how I shaped an airfoil, and it doesn't take very long to do it. I don't like using the rod method because, one, they don't look as good, I don't think, and two, I don't think they stay as straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a good airfoil on this one. Probably need to sand that one a little more.
So you're sanding an airfoil into that flap then?
Yeah, I sanded an airfoil into it. And it doesn't take long.
Actually.
So that's it on the sanding of that flap. You'll notice this flap has a considerably wider. It has more area by 3/8 of an inch at the root, and it's pretty close to the same at the tip. And from what I understand, the reason why it's that way is the inboard wing is longer and the outboard wing is moving faster, so you need more area in the flap on the outboard side to compensate in the turn. I don't know the theory. You know, if you ask Brett Buck, he could give you the pi times radius square answer why it's like that. I don't know. I just know that I've always done it because I saw it done that way and it's always worked. So I'm not much of a guy to do the math and all that business. I just you know, imitate what I see works, and I've had success doing that.
Yeah, I've seen some of the, I think the Nobler is a plane that got the wings are different size.
Yeah, they're quite a bit asymmetric, but I'm just running down why the outboard flap is bigger than the inboard. And this model is the same way. And every model that I ever build, I design, you know, when I design them, which there's not much to really design, are that way. So I'm going to try to get this airplane ready to go. I'd like to have it up on its wheels next week. And if I stayed on a push, I don't. You probably weren't around, Daryl, when I did the 11-day Aries from start to finish. I built an Aries in 11 days, and I won the Spirit of '62 award with it. I got those trophies around here somewhere for it.
You can't argue with that.
So we have the rudder done, the flaps are done. Got this elevator done. Is this one done?
This is the one you're building for somebody?
Yeah, this is done. That's done. Top and bottom are done. So I got all the parts done and ready to go. All I have to do is hinge the. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm not going to hinge those up tonight because I'm going to have to dig for the tool. We got all the parts and I'm ready to go together with this thing. Made up the horns. I made the hinges the other night.
Yeah, those are neat hinges.
They're just, I don't know. Did I post a movie on it? No, I got it in my passport. This is what a hinge looks like. It's just a polywog.
Yeah.
Inside there is a brass eye. I made a little tool to peen it over. I don't know if the camera will show that, but it's peened over on the edge there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
You do one on the horns, so you got one 3/32 and one 1/8 inch, plus these 20 thousandths or whatever, these 30 thousandths wires. Hinges, those hinges are the best I've ever used.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about trying those.
I don't know whether I explained how that came about, but I'll tell the story one more time. 1991, 25 years ago, Ron O'Toole, friend of mine, explained it to me when I was living down farther south or farther north or whatever. He said, well, you make these polywog looking jobs and you put them in the flap, and I could not figure that out. 20 years later, I'm sitting on the couch downstairs in this house, and it was just like the light switch went off. I wasn't thinking about hinges or nothing. And I just went, hey, I know what he meant. 20 some years later, and I come up here and I built my first hinge, and I've been doing it that way ever since.
Like a revelation.
It really was. It was like an eye-opening epiphany, you know. Wow.
As long as it works.
Well, there is no freer setup. None. You know, all them blade hinges and all that. I don't like them. Not anymore. Not after I started doing it this way. What the heck happened to my sweeper? My brush. There it is.
It looks like I gotta go get my charger. I'm right back. iPad's dying.
The only bad thing, guys, about cleaning your shop, building a nice shop, is once you do it, you gotta keep it clean.
Yeah.
I don't know how Tom Morris keeps his clean.
Funny how that works.
The other room over there's got to be 20 years of sawdust on the carpet. And if I ever get any money ahead.
Good thing you quit smoking.
Oh, yeah. I often thought about that. I'm smoking up here and thinking, wow, if I ever drop a cigarette on the floor, you know, I got lots of paint in here. It'd be a heck of a fire.
Yeah, go up pretty quick. Right back.
All right. So, let's see what else we can talk about. I basically got that project straightened out there. Oh, I know what to talk about. Most everybody knows that I really like that my new airplane. Really flies well. And I was going to build a new one. And my average kit arrived. Called up Tom Morris. Now, this wing is supposed to be built with 16th inch wood. I don't really care for 16th. It's kind of wobbly. So Tom sent me a box of wood here. This is all 3/32. This is 3.9 pound wood. So just under 4 pounds.
It's not too soft.
So, no, it's perfect. Here's my wingtips that I made up. And you think, well, that's great. Most wingtips weigh a half ounce a piece. These both together don't weigh a half ounce together. They weigh 0.1. Better do it in grams. They weigh 6 grams for both of them.
That's light.
Yeah, this should be a fairly light airplane. And I'm not really working on it much because I'm doing all these other projects, but I got the nose block here. This is a 4 pound wood. And I ended up, remember I showed that big half-inch piece of wood that I got from Gary Hayjack. I made my stabilizer. I made 2 of these actually. And I took the lightest one, and that was the piece that I got from Gary. Now I chamfered this out. This stem is 5/8 of an inch thick with a 3/8 elevator. It will be buried back into that slot fairly well. And obviously, but when I said on the video, I go, look at my new stabilizer, can you see it? You know, people think I'm nuts. My rudder, it weighs 9 grams. So we're well on our way. This is my spar wood.
Hi, Sparky.
Who we got there?
Charles.
Charles, how's it going?
Doing well.
You like my new airplane? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Looks good. It's not one. It's not one piece yet, though.
It will be. Let's see
How
what
thick
it will
is
be.
your rudder?
What?
How thick is your rudder?
3/16.
Thank you.
So this is my new airplane, and it weighs 20 ounces.
Wow.
And there's still too much of it here, so I'll cut some of that away, so it'll be around the 1 pound mark.
Okay.
When I cut away everything that doesn't look like an airplane, it'll weigh less. I'm just kind of building this airplane. Before you came on, I was working on the Continental, doing the flaps and making sure I had all the parts ready to go for that. Because I want to make sure that I get that done and out next week. But in between, and I still got some airplanes to paint, but I went and picked up some paint from Wix. In between building all this stuff, I'm building a kit. Here's 1/2 of the ribs for the wing. So my wing is 0.8 ounces. So let's see. Oh, that's tear. That's not what I wanted to do. Tear. Mode 22. My wing is 44 grams. Whatever that, about 1.5 ounces. Plus the sheeting. I'm hoping to make another 55, 56 ounce airplane, but in order to do that, you got to kind of weigh and watch everything that you're putting on it. But that's my new airplane. In a couple of months, it'll look like that.
Wow.
See what we got here. 7. Integrated. There we are. How's that?
That's good.
Anyway, I just been tinkering and working. You'll notice that the muffler on the XL has been polished, like I told Daryl.
That looks good. Now, what did you use to polish it with?
Sandpaper. I took a file and I filed off all the casting marks, and then I sanded it with 600 with water, and then I sanded it with 1,000 grit with water. Then I sanded it with 2,000 grit with water, and then polished it with some rubbing compound.
Amazing.
Daryl, lots of Triumph. That ain't a Harley.
Yeah, I'm actually leaning against my Harley working on the Triumph right now.
Looks like you might have a amyl carburetor problem.
No, there's 2 amyl carburetors, so I got twice as many problems. Now I'm
Working on the stator.
no, I just put putting a new clutch in it.
Oh.
New front sprocket, engine sprocket. The guy, whoever put this together, there's a shim that goes in behind the engine sprocket.
Yeah.
And then once you put that in, you get, like, it's actually a spacer, and then you shim it for the sprocket alignment. Well, they never put this in. I had to go get one. And it ate the sprockets and chain.
You got to kind of watch those, because if the chain flips off, it'll wipe the case out.
They'll grenade the case, yeah. Yeah, there's probably a good dozen teeth missing off the clutch housing. And the front sprocket, of course, is all chewed up.
Is that a Bonneville?
This is a 750 Bonneville, yeah. 1974.
Yeah, should be gold. Why is it red?
It's red and it's black.
I thought they only made them in gold.
Well, it's probably if I go down 5 or 6 layers of paint, I'll probably find gold.
That's a, let's see, T100 is a 500, a T200 is a
This is a T140.
140.
Yeah.
Been a long time since I monkeyed with tribes. Is that still Wetworth?
The frame and everything is standard. That's when they started changing them. Half the engine's Whitworth, the other half is standard.
And that's right side shift. You shift with your right foot?
Yeah.
I lost him.
What's that?
Lost your camera. When you talk, your camera goes black.
Huh.
There you are.
Yeah. Weak.
Look at your Harley.
Okay.
Let me see your Harley.
Which one?
Whatever way you want to show me. Well, you got an FLT up on the lift. You got a shovel head, that's an FL, about a 1974 5. That is an FLHT, about a 1980.
This FLHT is a 83 shovel head. And then there's an FLH there. It's a 4-speed belt drive.
Yeah.
That's an 83.
That's a Sturgis, and they didn't make very many of those.
The other one's actually an FX, the silver one, or the gray one.
That belt drive one, they didn't make many of that. That's a Sturgis model.
No, they didn't. Didn't make many of those at all. And I got my 95 over there. They dropped the fridge and stove off for my brother. They got to pick it up, so I had to put my FLH behind the Mustang.
Well, that's one thing I know a lot about is those motorcycles right there. I ain't nothing you can't tell me I don't know about on them. Got an S&S carburetor on the shovel head. That's if you take a late model carburetor and put it on the shovel head, you won't believe how much better your shovel head will run. Oh,
the key in curb?
Yeah, put the key in on.
This FLT, my 80-inch shovel here, the 83, it has a key and curve, and it works very well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I did.
I'll tell you the mods for that carburetor. You take a 40,000. What's that? You there? Can you hear me?
I can now. I think I'm losing my signal.
You take the slide out and don't drill the slide. Never drill the slide. That's a vacuum carburetor, and if you drill the slide, it won't act right. So what you do is you take a 440 washer. It's 40 thousandths thick, and you put it underneath the needle and raise the needle. Put a 72 slow-speed jet in it and turn it out like a turn and 3/4. You got to drill out the slow-speed air idle screw, and that thing will run perfect. And the same with your shovel head. I've only jetted about 4,000 or 5,000 of those carburetors in that manner.
I put a Thunderjet kit in the Evolution.
No good. I can make it run much better.
Actually, I'm not very happy with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the reason why it doesn't work very good is they drilled the slide out, just like I told you.
Yeah.
There's a hole in the bottom of the slide, and that's what causes the slide to raise. And then they put a different spring tension in it. That's bullshit. So what you need to do is go get another slide. They're about $28. Stock slide, raise the needle 40 thousandths with a 440 washer, put a stock spring back in it, and do what I told you, 72 main, and that thing will run like you can't believe. It's perfect that way.
72 main?
What do you got in it? You got a 45, no, slow speed. What do you got in a slow speed? 45?
I can't remember now.
You'd have a 45 and a 72 main. 45 slow speed and a 72 main. I think I'll run perfect.
Yeah, I put a K&N style air cleaner on it, and I get S&S quiet performance mufflers on her.
Well, I'm going to tell you something about that K&N performance muffler. Believe it or not, Harley Davidson had their shit together when they designed their airbox. And if you look at the way the airbox works, it actually rams air. It's got a, I don't know, a cone that causes the vortex going. Harley Davidson had their shit together. They run better with a stock airbox. You can put a different K&N air filter in the stock airbox. Well, what do I know? Hang on just a second, I'll show you something. I know where this is.
I like this view of his XL.
This here, Daryl, is my
Harley
Davidson recognition portfolio. It gives all the service training. So we got service training, vehicle maintenance, electrical diagnostic, engine management. See, they're all filled out. Chassis service, digital electronics, powertrain, V-rod, sound system, and then all the tapes. And then I had to start a new book. I've been doing it so long, so I had I had to add another book to the portfolio, and that starts over here. We got V-rod powertrain, which was the performance, and then all the signatures from the instructors. And then the new book starts, touring electronics. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And these are all the places that I worked: Widman, Gateway, Laidlaw. So when I go into a Harley dealer, I go, this is who I am. And I throw that down and I say, I want $30 an hour.
There's a PhD course or school in Canada too. It's up in Fairview College here in Alberta.
Well, do they have powertrain? Do they have digital electronics and all that shit there, or everything, or is that just...
They have everything.
See, for all these schools, I went all over the country. Not only Milwaukee, I went to the drivetrain school in South Carolina, and then went to Arizona to the test track. And I've been doing Harley Davidson since, all my life, 1974. And people ask me questions, and I haven't done any motorcycles now in about 2 years. And people ask me questions, I don't know nothing about it. That's what I tell them. I don't know nothing. I'll be involved.
I'm getting like that myself. It's I worked on bikes for 20 years, but I worked on everything. I didn't specialize in any one. Plus, I worked on marine and snowmobiles. ATVs, I hated those goddamn things.
You got an SAE bolt in your hand. Why are you going to put that on it?
What?
That's an SAE bolt, grade 5, three marks on top, right?
Yep. Yeah, this is for pulling the sprocket off.
It's a 3/8 bolt?
3/8 fine, national fine, yep.
Yeah, I knew it was SAE.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of brings back memories looking at your shop, my model shop. I got lots of airplanes. Well, the garage that I got now is a shambles just full of junk, but it used to look just like yours. Motorcycles and tools and lifts and all that shit.
I don't have a lift.
I traded my lift for the part of my roof, and the roof still leaks.
Well, I'd be hunting that guy down.
Yeah, well, one of the guys saw that I needed a roof on YouTube here, and he came over and fixed my roof that the other guy didn't fix, but it's still got a small leak on it, and I really can't say anything about it because the roof is a disaster up there, but he's gonna come over and put a new roof on my house. But I gotta build him an airplane, so whatever.
So you need a whole new roof, is what you're saying?
Yes, it's a disaster.
Yeah, I re-shingled mine 5 years ago, and luckily everything underneath, for the most part, was in good shape.
And Charles, he's in the den there, aren't you?
No, this is actually my my messy office. It looks like a den, but yeah, it's just
How do you build airplanes in there? It's too much crap.
I don't build planes in here. It's just extra storage for some of my planes. I build down in my garage, but I don't have a camera in my garage, so.
You don't have a room in your house. You got to do it out in the cold garage. Or of course, it doesn't get cold in California.
That's right.
I got a heater in my garage. It sure as hell gets cold here.
I don't doubt that.
Minus
cold.
40. Minus 40 is not unusual.
It gets cold here, but my garage, when I was doing motorcycles out there, I put an air conditioner in there for the summer. I had to rewire it 6'3" with ground out to the garage so I could weld. And then I put an air conditioner in, and then it got cold, so I had to put a heater in, so I'm like insulated and all that shit. Fuck.
How cold is cold there?
Not as cold as it cold in Canada. Probably at 15, maybe.
That's about minus 6-7 degrees Celsius. So yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, t-shirt weather for you guys.
Long sleeve.
Yeah, freezing for me. I'm from the California desert where it's 100. I've seen it 130 in the shade.
Yeah, I experienced that once. I was trying. The wife and I went down to Las Vegas. Kept going west, and we ended up in Los Angeles. And we stopped in the Mojave Desert, and good Lord, man. I had to get out of the truck, right? Just to experience that.
Take your breath away. When I lived there, I had a tan just like Charles. I did.
Yeah, I believe you. It's possible.
For sure. So what are you building, Charles?
I'm building a Strega.
An ARF or a regular one?
It's an ARF. It's an ARF.
Is it done yet? They only take a couple hours.
Yeah, they should, but I've done some mods to it, so.
Well, how much mods can you do? It don't take a few hours to put one together.
Yeah, it's just that with the family and everything else, life and work, it's tough to get it done. But
Brodak ARF?
yeah, it's a Brodak ARF.
Yeah. I could build a kit in the time it takes to straighten one of those things out.
You know what? You're right. I actually spent a great deal of time taking care of the wrinkles in the monocoat or whatever the film is. It was wrinkled like an accordion. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was just hours and hours of trying to straighten out the wrinkles.
I just stripped that off and put polyspan on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been better.
I just find the quality of their ARFs is horrid. I got one there, it was a profile, the Super Clown, and that had a bow in it. I couldn't believe it. It looked like a friggin' banana.
You should have told me.
Yeah, they'll give you a new one.
Yeah. Getting stuff in
Yeah.
Canada seems to be a bit of a challenge.
Oh, okay.
And John is real good about exchanging things.
I just built a new fuse, but I stretched it 2 inches.
You made a franchise clown then, huh? Oh, I don't know that I should. Go ahead.
You know, I was looking at the plans. You know how the flying models now has the plan service
Yeah.
back up and running again. And I was looking at one plane. I thought it was pretty neat looking. The Hijacker by Roy Tratham. Are you familiar with that plane? The Hijacker. It's a neat looking plane. And I was wondering if you've ever seen it. I was just curious.
No, I never seen it. I don't know whether I showed this on camera or not, but this is the top block for the Continental. And I made it, I canoed it. And how I show different things, but how you do that is you hold it up to the light, and it looks pink through it. And
Right.
when it turns that shade of pink, you'll know it's, about 3/32 to 1/8 of an inch. And that's about as light as you're going to make it. So I thought I'd just throw that in there. I mean, it's not necessarily for you, but there'll be other people watch this video after we get off of here.
I'm gonna order some of that wood one of these days.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to order some of that stunt hanger wood one of these days.
Well, at the beginning of this video, or beginning of showing this model, I showed the wood that I just got in. It's super nice stuff.
I got some SIG wood that's pretty nice, but I got a feeling it's not as nice as some of those kits I got from is it RSM?
Eric Rule.
Yeah.
Eric gets the wood the same place we get ours. Bud knows him. I could cut that out of there. Now when SIG used to have a contest. I don't know if anybody ever been to it or not, but it's in Montezuma, Iowa. When they just stopped it here recently. Well, recently, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Anyway, we used to go there and then go in the plant, and Mike Gretz would let us pick out the wood. And we get good stuff then.
Yeah, I always like their products.
Got little bugs going on the wood. So, go ahead.
Sparky, do you put slop in your control system, like on your elevator?
Yes. No slop from the belt crank to the flaps, but from the flap to the elevator. If you have a 3/32 wire, you use an 1/8 piece of brass. So there's a few thousand slop in it.
Okay.
But I've been doing the blanket stab, where the stab is much bigger than the elevators, and that blankets it out pretty good too. So
you have a wire in the front to the flap, and then you have a ball link in the back, or you do wires on both ends of your push rod?
Well, I've been experimenting around ball links. Let's see, I have a ball link here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Maybe I have a ball link handy. I don't. Yeah, I do. Okay. I have some wires already pent up here as well. Okay, a ball link, even though it's free, has a 1/4-inch surface area around that ball. It's a 440,
Right.
440 nut holding a 3/16 ball on it. So we have 3/16 of surface area, as opposed to a 3/32 wire. This is what I use on the platforms, as opposed to a 3/32. So if you're a good solderer and a good cleaner, and you can get this stuff soldered and cleaned on, cleaned up nicely, this will be freer. And I don't believe that this lasts any longer than this. The reason that these were made so popular is that not everybody can solder and install a push rod with 100% freeness. But I do it both ways sometimes. I normally go from the bell crank to the flap horn with a push rod with ball links, and then from the flaps to the elevators with a bushed horn. That and all this rigmarole weighs a whole lot. So
Yeah, I've been going back and forth a couple days. Was I gonna put slop in it or not? And I was reading on the forum, and it seemed like, from what I hear, that some people thought that slop was kind of in vogue a while back, but now everyone is, at least now it's not needed, supposedly.
Here again, and there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. You might talk to Paul Walker and he'll say no slop. You might talk to another guy, they'll say do what you think that you want to do. We're working on the new push rod here. This carbon fiber rod, 1/8 inch, half as light as the bigger stuff. Got a perfect 3/32 inside. So you can JD weld that in and adjust the flaps and have it perfect. I use motor offset. People say that's wrong. I got told tonight by another gentleman I run pressure on Super Tiger 60s. Oh, that won't work. Okay.
That's two things I was told to do away with when I first got back.
What, pressure?
Muffler pressure and offsetting the engine.
Yeah, well, I know. I purposely set my engine off 3 degrees, and I purposely run muffler pressure because I've had 0 problems doing it.
I do see a few guys doing that.
I mean, you could, like I said, there's a million ways to do this. You can do it any way that makes you happy, but
Yeah, I just have never tried slop before, so I just thought I might try it, and then I changed my mind. But I still have, it's not done yet, so I can still go back to putting slop in it.
if you've never done it, don't do it. If you've been doing it, keep doing it. I can't really advise you. I can only say what I do.
Yeah, that's what I just want to know what you did. That's all. I'm hoping.
I mean, look, I don't remember whether I put any slop in this or not, but what I did on this airplane is it has a blanket stab on it, so it acts like slop. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me see if it's got any slop. It's minute. There's very little slop. There's just a little. But the blanket stab, if you look here, this is 3/4 or, no, this is 5/8 thick, and this is 3/8 thick. So we have 1/8 of an inch on each side of the elevator. That means that this elevator can move up 1/8 of an inch and it won't have any effect, or down 1/8 of an inch and it won't have any effect. So that makes for a real nice tracking model. And that's why you're putting a slot in it, so you get it to groove real nice. See, I polished the muffler up here like chrome. Let me see if you can.
Wow, it looks good.
That's what I used to call my ex-wife's cooking.
I was asked, I can't remember who asked me, how'd you get it that way? Sandpaper. You can't really see it there, but
No, it looks good. I have a couple of mufflers, so I'm familiar with the sheen they come with. And that looks good.
it looks like chrome in person. But you see, it's got muffler pressure on it.
Yeah, I see it.
That won't work. Okay. If you listen to it run on the forum, on the video, runs perfect.
Yes, it runs good.
If you remember, it was this year or last year. Was it this year we were at Rodex together, or last year?
Yeah, it was this year.
Okay, this year no, I didn't bring that airplane. Okay.
Yeah, you brought your shoestring.
Did you ever see my Monado?
No, I just saw the shoestring.
I go get the Monado and show you that. I guess because I was doing the Nationals, I didn't bring any stunt planes there.
Hey, Sparky, before you stop, show me how you're hanging your planes up. I'm curious about that.
It's got a nail in the wall.
Uh-huh.
I just took a coat hanger and made a gas hook and hooked the tail wheel on the coat hanger. Nothing to it.
Okay.
Let me get this other airplane.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah. And it's only 8:15 here too.
It's 9:15 here.
Okay, this is the airplane that I won the concourse at Rodex with.
Oh wow.
Got real gold leaf lettering on it. I did that on the forum. It seems dirty.
Wow, that is beautiful.
I like that color setup.
I don't know if you can. I'll show you the little man. And I spent a lot of time on the little man. I gotta pull the cord. I got a 50-foot cord. I can walk around the whole house with this thing now. Can you see the little man in there?
Yeah, I do. I see him.
See him there?
I see him. Very cool.
Yeah. And then there's the gold leaf letters.
Sweet.
That is beautiful.
I did that with my Continental too. I don't know if you ever seen that airplane.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the videos.
Let me wipe this thing off while it's been sitting up there for a year. I haven't flown it since Rodex, so it's been over a year. It's going on 2 years.
Wow. That is beautiful, Sparky. That is beautiful.
And this airplane is really special. When you look at it in the sun, this is black metal flake. You can't see it on the video, but it's got gold flake in it.
Wow. So how much does that one weigh?
61.
Wow. And what engine do you have in it?
Super Tiger 60.
Very nice.
Is that the V60 you're using?
Yeah,
Seen one on eBay, went for almost $400.
I got 3 of them.
Yeah, I saw a Super Tiger 60, a brand new one on eBay that went for over $1,000.
Eh,
Yeah, I was like,
I bought 3 of them.
I was upset. I said, this guy's ruining the market.
I bought 3 of them for $100 on eBay.
Wow, that is a terrific steal.
So they were our RC engines, but same motor. You just put Venturi on them. I wouldn't pay no $400 for none.
No,
they didn't cost that new.
no. Plus, there's a lot of motors you can get for $400.
Buy a PA.
Yeah, PA or Rojet.
Yeah, I can. Well, he's done with the PA run, isn't he?
You could still get one. Super Tiger 60 is $100 motor.
Yeah.
I'd give $100 for one. There's no way that I would pay more than that. I've seen them go for $150. I've seen Tom Lay motors go for $250. And I really don't. Every Super Tiger 60 that I've ever had has been box stock, and they work absolutely perfect right out of the box.
Yep. I always like those engines. I got a couple of 51s, but I don't have any 61s.
Yeah, I think I have about 3 Super Tiger 60s and about 3 or 4 51s.
Yeah, my new camera setup is much better than what I used to do. I think this video is the quality of video that comes out of this is better than my web or my cams too.
What are you using?
This is a Logitech 1080p HD cam. It's just a webcam, and it takes better pictures than my. I have 2 of these JVC 20 gig hard drive cameras that I take to the field. Plus, I have a. I don't use it in the shop though. I have a Nikon D7100, but I don't want to use it in the shop because I don't want to get it dusty.
Yeah.
I use it to take pictures out of the, still pictures, but it will take movies. You notice this is pressure too.
Yeah, I've used pressure. I thought pressure worked good. It's a different 4.2 brake than not pressure, but they both work. I just tried to see which one I liked best on the plane. It all depends.
Yeah,
I've always used
they got me
pressure.
screwing around with those, what the hell they call that? I just squished my thumb, so I can't think.
So, yeah, this is a good flying plane. It probably wouldn't make the cut at the Nats because of the long nose on it, but it's got a nice look to it.
Oh, got her first shot, man. That was a good guess.
Does great rounds and cracks really nice.
On your Canopy, Sparky, do you brush in that frame, or do you do an airbrush to get the frame of the Canopy?
Okay, canopies are a little strange, but if you go back on my in my video, my YouTube channel, I show how I did that cockpit area. The dashboard is off of, I just took a JPEG and glued it onto a piece of balsa wood, put that in there. The frame, you take and you brush the inside of the frame first with a small brush and try to stay in the line. And you do the bottom of the frame, and then you glue it on. Then you got to brush from the inside and spray from the outside, so that the frame looks like it belongs on there instead of it just being stuck on there. If that makes sense.
So you brush on the inside and you spray on the outside?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason why you brush on the inside is if you don't, you'll be able to see where you glued it on. Now, if you were here to see this, let me see if I can give you a better view of it. If you were here to see this, it looks like it's part of the airframe. It doesn't look like, try to look in.
I see,
inside.
Yeah, it looks
because
good.
The painted part hides the glue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I watched the video when you were doing that.
The biggest trick is to get it set on. You got one shot.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what? This thing needs to be boned out. If I bone this out one more time and polish it, it'll really shine. I mean, it shines good now, but
I'm gonna send you. There he goes again. Look.
what?
He's watching me yawn. I keep yawning and he keeps catching me yawning.
I'm trying not to yawn. Contagious that yawning is.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I plan to stay up for a while too. I want to work on the Strega.
Actually, I bought the Brodak P40 ARF.
Hey, that is a nice flying plane. I have a friend who has two of them.
Yeah, I saw a Shug there flying one, and I kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah, they got that landing gear just right. I mean, it takes off really nice, and it lands really nice. Almost automatic. They really got that landing gear right the first time.
Landing automatic. Yeah, I could use a lot of that.
And I even enjoy the silhouette of the Brodak 40. I mean, excuse me, the Brodak P40. I like the silhouette when I'm flying the plane. I like how it looks from the handle out. You know, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's a good silhouette.
Yeah, I got the electric one.
What prop do you think is on this?
Let me see it. I can't see. I'm looking at the XL against the wall.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, I imagine it's a rev up 13.6, right?
That's it. It's the only prop that works.
Yes. Yeah, they're hard to. I thought I had some. I haven't. I thought I did have some, but I don't have any 13.6 rev ups.
I'm gonna try some of those soar props.
I got two in the car. One on that other. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 propellers to last me a lifetime, and I'm always looking for them.
I'm lucky to get a day out of a prop.
Is it possible to repitch these? I have some rev up 13.7s. Is it possible to repitch them?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Sandpaper. You got a pitch gauge? Do you have a pitch gauge?
Yeah, yes I do. I just got one from Walter Hicks.
Yeah, sand a degree out. Sand one. If I have 13.7s, and nothing else, I would definitely try to make them 13.6s. You could even under camber them then because you got more pitch. A lot of guys do a lot of prop work.
I like to try the SOAR props because you can't get those anymore. The big thing is they're a lot lighter. The wood props so much lighter than those APCs.
Yeah, those Zor props are very efficient. I actually had a Zor prop on my Super Tiger 51, and I was amazed at how much faster the plane flew with that Zor prop.
Really?
This is 11.6. I was going to try it on a Super Tiger 46 because I have 11.6 rev ups and 11. I don't know if I can see it here, but I got a propeller you have probably never seen rev up. Come on. Super hard to find. If you could find these, they're worth their weight in gold. Ah, there we go.
They made in the States?
No. No, they just didn't make a whole lot of these. This is a 11.6 EW, extra wide.
Oh, wow.
This is 11.5 wide, but you'll notice that the wide and the EW is an eighth of an inch bigger. So now, let's go to 11.6 regular. Okay, here's an 11.6 regular. So here's the EW. This is the wide, but the regular is an eighth inch less than the wide.
Wow.
So we got a quarter inch difference between a regular and an EW. See the difference?
Yes.
I
see it. Yeah, I can see it.
I've never heard of those props till now.
I have two of these. These, what we used to fly, and this was hard to get. I had to buy 50 propellers to get these two.
Wow.
I bought a guy's whole box of rev ups. And I ended up, I got a whole bunch of propellers down here that I will never use just because I had to get them, here's just a handful of them. I had to get them all just because I wanted those, and he wouldn't sell me just those two. And there's a whole bunch more down there. It's 11.7.5 rev up, 13.7 rev up, THP. I don't know what that is, but I think we'll try that. Let me see. That's been cut down, it looks like. Yeah. Somebody cut the tips off it to make it a paddle.
This is nice props.
There's 11.8. I got rev ups. I kicked myself in the butt. That guy from Canada bought all those 13.6s before I could get my money out.
How much did they go for?
They were normal price, $6 a piece or whatever. The deal was that Brodax 2 years ago. I went in there, and he had a whole stack of 13.6 rev ups. I said, well, I'll be back, and I'll buy them when I come back. And when I came back, they were all gone. And the only reason why they were gone is and he's on the forum. The guy from Canada said, well, you said rev up's the only prop, so he bought them all.
Wow.
I still have more rev up props than he does, but I wanted those propellers. I always buy 13.6s.
You tell them how good they are after you buy them.
Yeah, I know. Too late now. So I got two. I got I even ran this propeller on a PA, and it worked good on a PA. Chris Rudd was gonna have, oh, what's the guy's name? Oh, he got thrown out of the match. Can't remember what his name is. Nice guy. Anyway, we're gonna make some carbon fiber rev-ups.
That's pretty much all they use, that and APCs in our club. The real serious guys got those 3-blade carbon fiber jobbies.
You know, I showed you that rack of props, or that handful of props underneath there. Here's a rack of props off the wall.
Wow. Yep, it's easy to accumulate props.
What's that?
I said it's easy to accumulate props.
Well, most, you know, a lot of these are stuff that I won't use, but the rev-ups, I will use them. And you know, I got a 13.6 zinger here. Nowhere near the propeller a rev-up is.
Yeah, zingers are kind of meh, even in the RC world.
Yeah, my friend refers to zingers as prop kits.
I got a Bali 13.6, and I don't like it as much as it's heavy.
Yeah, I had a zinger on my smoothie, and they told me to take it off and put a APC on, but then of course I used the wood prop because it was so light.
Right.
That's why I'm thinking about getting a Zor, because I know they're a good quality prop, and they're wood and they're light.
You know about unsprung weight, right?
Pardon?
In the motorcycle world, unsprung weight.
Oh yeah.
Ever heard that term?
Yep.
Well, that's the same as this propeller. For gyroscopic precession, which I don't know what that means. I equate control line stunt airplanes to sprint cars. A sprint car is set up to go left, and this airplane is set up to go left as well. So it has stagger, pitch, and wedge. Well, the propeller acts like unsprung weight. You don't need a big, heavy gyroscope up there on the nose, so you try to keep it as light as you can. But what do I know?
A lot.
Nah.
You know, I try to keep my weight off my spinner and my prop, but I've needed the nose weight.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I think I'll send Sparky my gas tank, see what he can do with that.
Yeah.
Probably painted with dope. It'd be light anyway. Light.
Yes.
The slimy light.
Well, we've entertained 7 people plus who we've had on here for the last hour and a half.
Should have videoed this bike work and called it How to Work on a Triumph Without Foul Language. It ain't easy.
I'll tell you a Triumph story. The stator in a T100 was a very hard thing to get, so I ended up finding one, and it was about $150 or whatever. And I had it up on the bench, the motorcycle on the bench, and I couldn't figure out exactly how to get it wired back together because somebody had cut off the plug. So I put the stator in the bike, and I started it, and I wanted to check voltage coming out of the stator. And you know how Amel carburetors drip when you tickle them or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the gas had dripped all over the bench, and I touched that wire to ground or whatever, and made a spark, and it about burned the shop down.
That why they call you Sparky?
No.
Ah, it's too funny.
Yeah, I've had some experiences like that.
It about burned the shop down.
It's like a shovel head. If it ain't leaking, it's empty.
Well, I was going to give you a fix on fourth gear leak. You want to hear it?
Fourth gears on the 4-speeds?
Yeah.
5-speed?
No, not exactly. You take the transmission apart, take fourth gear out of it, take it to a machine shop along with an INA bearing, a 5-speed INA bearing for the main shaft, and put 2 of them in there. So instead of the bushing, the bronze bushing, you have it machined out and press in 2 INA roller bearings and put an Evo seal in it, and it'll stop leaking. It will never leak again.
Yeah, that works well. Yeah.
Have you done it?
We've done it with the last Harley dealer I worked in. We used to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it also fixed the belt drives because of the extra load.
Right.
They'd eat that bushing, eh? Because for one thing, people would tighten the shovel head belt up like you do an Evo, and you don't do that. And the other,
Well,
the belt pulley put more load on it, so.
that bronze bushing, I got the correct size ream. That ream was $300. And you ream it out and put it on the main shaft, and so it's brand new. The minute that it rolls out of the shop, it starts leaking because it's worn out.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm.
You carry a liter engine oil and tranny oil around in your saddlebags. Although my FX and this FL, they're both good. Of course, this FL, that's an 83, so that might have been done at the factory on that 4-speed. Now this FLHT I got is a 5-speed rubber mount, and it's got the enclosed chain.
Drive chain, you mean?
It's an enclosed rear chain, yeah, and it's in an oil bath.
Yeah. You know how hard that rear wheel is to change?
Oh yeah, but if you know how to do it, it's pretty easy.
Oh, I know how to do it. But normally what happens is the axle gets froze up in the wheel bearings. You got to cut it out with a sawzall.
Oh, that's the 80, 81, 82s, yeah. In 83, they went back to the Timken tapered roller bearings in the rear end of these. And then 84, they went belt drive.
Right. They went back to the Star Hub type bearing.
Yeah, this one here, there's the rear sprocket.
When you froze up. Okay, there we go.
There's the rear sprocket.
Well, that's 82 there.
What's that?
That's 82. No, what year is it?
83.
83.
Yeah. 82 still had the ball bearings that didn't work.
I was off by a year. It's hard to see through the internet.
That and shitty Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's my next job. After I get this slimy limey done, I'll get the trouble head going. I gotta put a head gasket in it.
Make sure you get some orange RTV and go around the oil passage. You know, there's an oil return in the barrel.
Yeah.
Just take your fingers and put some orange RTV on it. That's the high temp silicone. and just take a buoy on the top and bottom of the head gasket, a small, be that RTV, and it won't leak there again.
That's where they always leak.
I know all the goody tricks.
Yeah, I might tap you on that.
If you call me on this and show me what you're doing, I can give you the directions over the internet.
Yeah, I had to get the, you know how the shovel head where the threads go and they like to pull them out,
Right?
and then you take them in and you get them recessed. I had to do that on this one.
Go, now write this down probably. It's called a time cert. Anytime you got threads pull out of anything, never helicoil nothing. Helicoils are junk.
Yep.
Get a thing called a time cert. I think you can get it from, who's that big company that has a catalog that's about that thick that sells all different kind of machinist stuff?
That's like an entire thread that goes in. It's not a coil. So,
Right.
Yeah, they work good.
It's a steel thread. You got a special drill and you have to tap it.
Yeah.
And you drill that in and it has barbs on it, so it'll only go one way down there. But then you have steel threads instead of aluminum.
Yeah. They use those in aircraft.
Right. Time cert is what it's called.
What was I doing? Oh, yeah. There we go. More nights back to the airplanes.
That's a wetworth wrench there, isn't it?
Nope, it's a black snap-on.
Oh. I thought it was a 29/64 over 31/32. Stupidest system I ever seen in my life.
These are Whiteworth.
Junk.
Yeah, well, if you want to work on a limey, you gotta have them.
But now they're all metric.
Yeah, but they're not real Triumphs.
That the late model Triumph looks like a Yamaha T6 or Y650 or that 650 Yamaha.
Oh, the old XS 650 twin.
That's it, yeah.
I had two of those.
They run good.
They're goddamn tough. Jesus, they're tough. We had a guy come in and he wanted a service done on it. I took the drain plug out and about, I'd say 2 or 3 cups of oil came out of it, and that was it. And that thing ran like a clock. I couldn't believe it.
You know, Kawasaki made that same motor.
A vertical one?
Yeah, vertical, just same as the YS650, but it was a Kawasaki. American Eagle McCormack products put it out, and it was a good bike too. It's all the same motor, probably covered in the same foundry.
I was the only one that rode the pistons side by side, the same as our Triumph did, though.
A 180 crank.
No. Two journals are side by, both pistons go up and down at the same time.
Right, it's a 180 crank instead
Yeah,
of a 360.
crank, yeah. Where the Honda and all them, they had them opposing, yeah.
Right, 360 cranks.
Yeah.
They sound like a Harley.
Oh, I'm talking the vertical twins.
Yeah, a vertical twin with a 180 crank sounds like a Harley. That's why a Triumph sounds similar to a Harley.
Triumph?
Yeah, sounds very. If you ride it at low RPM, it sounds similar to a Harley.
Yeah, it's throaty, yeah. 150 Triumph will eat my 1200 on the bottom end.
Because it only weighs half as much.
The rider doesn't.
I think your one Harley there weighs about 575 pounds, and that Triumph probably weighs 375.
I don't think the Triumph weighs that much.
So weight is
But now in the
What's
top
that?
end, the Harley will walk right by this thing.
Yeah, but those shovel heads are only good for 100 miles an hour, and if you tell me any different, you're full of crap.
Yeah, 105 out of mine.
120 by the speedometer, but it'll only go 100.
Oh, that's about it.
The reason why I know that is the chassis is, and even the late model twin cam, the chassis is only designed for 100 miles an hour. Anything over 100 miles an hour, they don't have enough trail in them, and they start to do weird things. I mean, they go really crazy. Now, when you're riding your shovel head and you get it to 100 miles an hour on the speedometer, which is about 85, they feel like you're doing 300.
Yeah. And you're trying to hold on, your hands feel like they're floating up and down the handlebars.
I had a 4245,
Ooh, nice.
45, and I had a Triumph 4-speed transmission in it. Now, the 4245 had a 3-speed with it because that same motor went into the trike, and they had a reverse gear, but they took the reverse out of the street two-wheeler. So we put a Triumph transmission behind it. And it ran. What's that?
The old Servy cars.
Right. Well, I had a Cervicar too. I had a 1970 Cervicar, left-hand throttle, right-hand tank shift, and that was a curb marker for the California Highway Patrol. And at 55, top speed was 55 miles an hour, and at 55, the front end would go like that, and you think, God, this is going to be a tank slapper. I got to slow down. But Chuck, had a lot of fun with that bike, though.
They're meant for riding around giving parking tickets.
Right.
I used to have a hand slapper on my FX. That was actually fun. I might put that back on next to. I used to have a tank shift lid on it, eh? So it was a true suicide. You know, fourth gear, you're like that, right?
Right. Ratchet top.
I put a ratchet on it, and then wasn't thinking. I put the inner primary on, and I couldn't get the new shifter in there. I didn't have room to put the screws in. So I ended up just putting a foot shift on it. I rode that bike 11 years with a hand slap.
You got to make a special shift knob. It bolts onto that, the drum.
Yep.
And it bends up. It bends up in an S like that, so it'll clear the primary.
Yep.
And most of the guys with like 3 fingers on their hand, they got them hung up in a chain.
From the open drives, yeah.
Yeah, open drive, you gotta lose a finger that way.
I seen a guy nip all his fingertips off. He got the brainy idea of putting his Harley up on a crate. And he started it, and he grabbed a handful of grease, and he's greasing the chain.
Oh, brilliant.
With the bike in gear. Guy was a fisherman back east. Of course, you know what happened. His fingers went through the sprocket.
Ouch.
And it took all the fingertips off his hand. 2 days later, he was he was gone. He had to go fishing. I'm like, wow. Working on those trawlers, eh?
Well, guys, we've been on 2 hours. I think we're going to wrap Friday night up. I'll be back on Monday. I missed Wednesday this week. This is hard to do, to keep the schedule to do this for 2 hours, 3 times a week.
Yeah, I appreciate it, though. It's like being in your shop. I'm able to ask you questions, and you're able to show it to me. Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's what sharing is all about. What I'm trying to do with this is bring control line into the 21st century. We're a bunch of old duffers. If we don't get some young guys involved with building some things, And, you know, they like computers. And I'm just an old guy and I'm learning computers, and maybe some young guy would, you know, show me how to run computers and I'll show him how to build airplanes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't do too bad. The reason why I know what I know from computers is Harley Davidson. Because in 1990, Kevin was my service manager at Widman. He said, "You're going to have to learn computers." I said, "I don't know shit about computers." You know, he said, "Well, you're going to have to learn. Everything's going digital technician." They had Magneti Morelli electronic fuel injection, and they all went to this digital technician. Plug in the computer and let it diagnose. So I learned from a guy who lived downstairs when we had an apartment, was a NASA programmer. I said, "I got to learn about computers and I don't know anything." He said, "Well, here's a bunch of junk. You got to find 5 parts out of this pile to put together." He didn't help me either. He said, "You got to find 5 good parts out of this, put it together and plug it in and see if it'll work." And so I built my first computer. And after knowing that there's only 5 parts in a computer, and if you know how many parts are in a motorcycle, Charles, you wouldn't think 5. No, these jokers at Best Buy, they say, "Well, oh, it's so complicated." I said, "Buddy, don't give me that crap. There's 5 parts in there. That's all there is. And you guys don't do any diagnostics. You don't do any troubleshooting whatsoever. You take a piece out, throw it away, put in a new one. So you're a glorified parts changer. I don't want to hear any crap. Just tell me what I got to buy." And this, "Well, I got to do," no. So anyway, taught myself how to build one. And I went down to saw Rory, and I said, "I need to learn HTML and PHP." And once you understand that this computer is only a shoebox, it becomes real simple.
Very good.
Yeah, I messed around a little bit with my desktop, and it actually still works, so I count that as a victory. But
And the computer I'm running in my high-powered job, this is the laptop in this shop, but my high-powered computer in the office over there is one that I built for gaming. It's got, you know, like a $300 or $500 video card in it with a gigabyte of memory and stripe drive and just all the whiz-bang whistles and shit. It's 7 years old, so the minute that you go out of the store with your gigabyte motherboard and come back and put your new 54-pin chip in it, it's obsolete. So you can't keep up. You can't keep up with this.
You can't keep up. No.
So anyway, I think we're going to shut it down.
All righty.
Coming and joining me and keeping me company while I do this. See, we just got some more viewers signing on, but if you want to, I'm talking to the new viewers. If you want to see the whole video, you can wait for this to ratify or whatever it does. And it takes about 15 minutes, and you can turn the video back and watch it from the beginning. We talked about a wide range of crap tonight. Motorcycles, airplanes, different things. Just like every night on the Hangout. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share the videos. Help us grow. So till we see you again, fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
See ya.
have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.